Okay, when publishers reject my submissions, I'm afraid to submit to that same publisher again. Do previous rejections actually color their opinion of my new submissions?
Are we talking book or article?
I would probably say, well, I thought it would be book, but it doesn't say.
Let's do both of them.
For magazines, I get so many, I have no idea who's submitted to me and who hasn't, so it has no effect whatsoever. Unless you send 20 a week, like one person used to. And I finally told my editorial assistant, just send them all back. Because he's competing against himself and just being annoying. But, you know, unless you're exceptional in how bad it is, or how annoying it is, or how rude it is, I'm not going to remember. For magazines.
And I don't really know that about books since I'm not on the editorial side, but I would imagine kind of the same rule applies, that they probably have no memory of you sending it in. Now, if you're working with one of the major publishing houses, what happens occasionally is that your agent would send something in. They would say, well, we'll take this, or we'll take another look at this, but here are the changes we need made, and you can decide if you want those changes. And then it might take you a while to make those changes, and then you can resubmit it. But the majority of the major publishing houses don't even take submissions without agents anymore, so that's kind of a moot point on that.
And on articles, I've sent, like queried, and they said no, but they've also said, this topic is not something. And so if I really wanted to be in that article, in that journal, then I would try one more time and say, well, how about this topic, But after that, I just move on to the next journal. There's a lot of them out there.
That's a good point, Madeline, because also in books, in fiction even, there's, like I got a couple years ago, got a novel idea rejected, and the theme was possessions and what our material goods mean to us. They weren't at all interested. I thought it was the most fabulous idea I'd ever come up with. They said no. Then the economy collapsed. And suddenly,
that's an interesting topic.
They came back and said, let's take a look at this again. To which my agent very astutely said, I think it may be too late. If you had bought this then, and it was coming out now, okay. And then I'm like, Janet, shut up! No.
She rejects my manuscripts like that. Like, no, she's always saying the train's already left the station.
Yeah. It's like in the future quite a bit, but we have the same agent, Jim and I do. But anyway, just to say that sometimes what Mary Lynn was saying is something's not relevant at the time, but wait 6 months and it could be. And we think about that in article writing, but it's also true in fiction too.
But there are a number of reasons that articles get rejected, and sometimes it's because they've just published something recently about that subject, where a year or two down the road they may be ready to publish on that subject again, or you may come up with different ideas that they'll be interested in. And I wouldn't necessarily, after 2 rejections.
Well, it just sort of depends. I guess my thing is there's enough markets out there, unless there's a journal I really want to be in, and then I work with that editor and get to know them. I try to get to know them a little bit and do something for them.
And a lot of times you can tell by the emails, it is still a form email, but I think they have more than one form, because one will say, thank you for your submission, nothing. One will say, please submit to us again. We'd love to see anything else, any other ideas you have. So you can kind of tell from that whether you just were maybe a little off the mark, or it just wasn't quite what they needed, but they did like your writing. So you might submit another idea later on.
And Tracy makes a good point. It may not be the quality of your writing at all. It just didn't hit the right time. Like for us, we're on a theme list. It may not be the right theme. Or simply the editor's got a headache or had a fight with his wife and is rejecting everything. So don't take rejection personally. There are hundreds of reasons it could be rejected that doesn't have anything to do with the quality of your writing.